listening to her.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Horrible. Today, as we mentioned, Sarah Palin released an 8-minute video to Facebook regarding the shootings in Tucson. It's a strange way to put out some news, but joining me right now is David Brock, founder and CEO of Media Matters, and Ron Reagan, our friend, radio talk show host and author of the upcoming book, which I've had a look at, My Father at 100. You're smiling. I'm not sure. I can't wait till we talk about that. And we have you on, Sarah, as the exclusive on that. You know, I'm a Christian, and I wasn't that familiar with the term blood libel she used. Can you tell me, David, what it's about? You're an expert on these things.
As I understand it, it's an exact phrase that's used to describe anti-Semites blaming Jews for killing Christians. So here's why I think she used it. She's appropriating the self-imagery of a persecuted Jew. Now, we have the first elected woman Jewish congressman lying, struggling for her life in Arizona. And I think the use of this is perverse by Sarah Palin. I think blood...
She's the first, what do you mean, first elected Jewish congresswoman?
From Arizona.
Oh, from Arizona, yeah.
Right, right. So I think, one, it's perverse. Number two, let's separate the terms. Blood. I think Sarah Palin likes to talk about blood. She likes to talk about reloading. There's something that she is generating in the base of the Republican Party by using this violent imagery that's very disturbing, but that works. And it works for her contributions. It works for her ratings. Matt Bai had a column on this in the New York Times the other day. It was very good. This is a business for Sarah Palin doing this. And then the libel you covered in the last section. What's the lie? There is no lie. No. She put that up. She put the crosshairs up, right? Everyone knows she did it. And remember what Gabby Giffords said about it. Can I read it? What she said? We're on Sarah Palin's targeted list. But the thing is, the way that she has it depicted has the crosshairs of a gun sight over our district. When people do that, they got to realize there's consequences.
And not only, and Gabrielle Giffords, in her indictment of Sarah Palin before she was shot, where she saw this coming in a sense, or at least the possible consequences, which turned out to be actually true.
Right.
She said, Sarah Palin said bullseye, just so you make sure what it meant.
That's right.
These crosshairs meant bullseye. Well, here's Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords on March 25th, before the horror of this past weekend. Boy, it's rare in history that someone gets to sort of narrate something coming this way. Here she is. Let's listen.
We really need to realize that the rhetoric and firing people up and, even things, for example, we're on Sarah Palin's targeted list, but the thing is that the way that she has it depicted has the crosshairs of a gun sight over our district. And when people do that, they've got to realize there's consequences to that action.
Ron, and you come from a family, of course, your beloved father, and I know you love him, and your mom too, and your family. You know what it means to have somebody shot. And the one thing that all assassinations have in common, whether it's by someone who's deranged or someone with a personal grudge, maybe in this case, or the most common of all assassinations, politically driven ones, guns. The use of guns, not as a metaphor, damn it, but as a reality. Guns, ammo, crosshairs, bullseyes. The whole
metaphor becomes reality after a while, as you've been pointing out. All this rhetoric about guns, Second Amendment solutions, lock and load, all of that kind of thing, the crosshairs. Sarah Palin didn't put an American flag lapel pin on Gabby Giffords' congressional district. She didn't just put a check mark there. She put gun sights there. And this is irresponsible. Sarah Palin, when she was released her little video here, she quoted my father as talking about personal responsibility and don't blame society for individuals' crimes. Well, I think it's time for Sarah Palin and people like her to take a little bit of personal responsibility themselves. It's not that Sarah Palin is responsible for Gabrielle Giffords' shooting or the deaths of the 9-year-old girl or these other innocent people, but there is a context here. It's a context of a violent society with a lot of murders every year, a fetishization of guns and gun use, and a rather cavalier attitude towards mental health as well. But that context is what surrounded Mr. Lofter when he committed his crime, or allegedly
And let's be a little humble here. I don't like being humble all the time, but I think we have to all be. We don't know his full mindset. And for her to assert that she did in that weird video that had nothing to do with politics, we don't know what he watched, what he listened to, what his influences were, what his confirmations were. He didn't live in a vacuum or an igloo like some people do. Let's listen right now to what she had to say in this video.
We know violence isn't the answer. When we take up our arms, we're talking about our vote.
What? Let me go back to David. He was an expert in communications. I mean, I think we used to say, maybe back in the Churchillian age, your voice was your power, your ability to speak up.
Sure.
That's certainly Norman Rockwell's notion. The man, you know, standing up at a meeting, at a public meeting, and saying, here's what I believe. But now it's standing up with your arms, standing up with your ammo, your gun sights, your bullseye. Why do you have, this is a problem I have with the Tea Party. Why so many guns at these events? Why constantly referring to guns?
Right.
What is it? Is it a throwback to the Revolutionary age? They think they're in a armed revolution?
Right. What does the Tea Party moniker stand for? Armed rebellion, right? This has been a theme of the Republican candidates and of Sarah Palin all year.
History lesson. The Boston Tea Party was a nonviolent economic statement against the Stamp Act, I believe. They threw the tea in the water. No guns. They dressed up like Indians. It was a demonstration. It was street theater.
Right.
Okay?
But
no guns.
This is not street theater, as you know. I mean, Glenn Beck himself has been responsible for 3 thwarted assassination attempts this year, and Sarah Palin won't
How was he responsible for them?
Well, you want to know what they are?
You said it.
Sure. So he burned Nancy Pelosi in effigy on his set. He tried to poison her with a chalice, okay? Some weeks later, somebody tried to firebomb Nancy Pelosi's house. That guy's mother went on television and said he gets all his ideas from Fox News. Do you know about Senator Patty Murray and the death threat that she got?
No, go ahead. Okay,
it's recorded. The guy says after the health care vote, he says you have a target on your back and I can accomplish what I want to accomplish with 1 bullet. Now, he's tried, convicted, and in the sentencing phase, his cousin writes in for leniency, and she describes in a very chilling memo, it's on our website, that he was slowly drawn into Glenn Beck's world, and she portrays the guy, the attempted assassin, Charlie Wilson, as a victim of Beck. And number 3, which you probably do know about, this liberal foundation in San Francisco was targeted by a gunman, Byron Williams, in June. The shooter gave jailhouse interviews, and we published them, and he says Glenn Beck is his school teacher on television and points specific episodes of the Glenn Beck show that inspired him to do it.
Last word, Ron.
Listen, there is this context, and David has explained it very well. You have people like Glenn Beck who repeatedly and constantly refer to political opponents on the left as traitors, treasonous, Marxists, fascists, Nazis. We've got to do something about it. We may have to take to the street. You know, you can see that as entertainment, but some people like Mr. Loeffner are not going to see it as entertainment. They're going to take it seriously. The only thing, you know, unsurprising about this whole thing is that it wasn't a surprise. You know, we all expected that something like this, awful like this, was going to happen, and it did.
Well, people that talk about blood libel and themselves being victims to it, and they talk about bullseye, shouldn't be president of the United States. And people seriously shouldn't be thinking about it. Anyway, thank you, David Brock. Thank you, Ron Reagan.
Thanks,
Up next...